be Christmas before any time at all. It's just going. This week, this year, this life. It's all going. I was just thinking just before I came on, am I really a real person? I'm beginning to wonder whether I am or not. Anyway, it's March, it's the end of the winter nearly, but it's going to snow in some of the places in the world, including Britain, but maybe not London. But it's going to be -1. Hello, March the 5th, yes. Happy March the 5th. It will be cold before it gets warm, dark before the dawn. Everything's gonna get worse before it gets better. That's how it works. Yeah, I don't know what's going on anymore. It's just I've been out 3 times this week. Can you believe it? Whoa, since 2020, I've gone to work since 2020, not so much this year, but really, not really anywhere else. In the last year, I've just been like, I've gone for a few walks and things like that, but not really anywhere else. And then 3 times into central London or thereabouts. Ooh, just King's Cross kind of central London. Sort of does. Hello, Philip. Hello, Arafingor. Hello, everybody. Yay! It's nearly my birthday. The time I get even older than I am now. Yay! It's gonna be my birthday, and I'll go happy, happy, happy birthday, happy, happy, happy birthday, happy, happy, happy birthday, happy birthday to me. But maybe not so much. How old am I going to be? How old am I going to be? Will it be 3? I will be 3 years old, yes. I don't know how old I'm going to be. I haven't decided yet. That's what I've decided from now on. You decide how old you are, and I don't know how old I am. It could be any age. It could be 2,642,000 for all I know. That's a good age to be. Nice, well-rounded age. Just seen... You've seen everything. But, the whole thing about the conspiracy theories about the cyclical nature of humanity, that we've been here before, that in fact 2 million years ago, way before we were supposed to have been existing, we did stuff, and it's like, how come we were around so long before we did civilization? How come we were around for so long before we did the internet? Maybe we did the internet loads of times. Am I a time lady? I'm time itself. I'm time itself. Yes, I'm time itself. Time and space and relative dimensions in space and all of that jazz. All that jazz. Oh, I was listening to 2 different versions of, hello Stephanie, 2 different versions of Chelsea Hotel. I didn't know there was more than one. Chelsea Hotel, the Leonard Cohen song that he wrote that was based on an encounter he had with Janis Joplin. And because at one of the things I went to this week was a friend's show where they did parody songs, and they did a parody of me and Bobby McGee. And to be honest, I was only vaguely aware of me and Bobby McGee, so I had to look it up, and it got me down a rabbit hole. And I had heard Chelsea Hotel 2, but I didn't know it was number 2. It's not number 2. It's very good, but there is a number 1. And I listened to that. I'm like, oh, this is nearly the same song, so that's interesting. Nearly the same song. Civilization, yes, exactly. I mean, what does count as civilization? Could be anything. Is civilization a shoe? Is civilization a poo? Is civilization anything you want to do? Is civilization a rocket or a building made of glass? Is civilization a video of someone falling on their ass? Because that seems to be what it is now. If you go by TikTok down the line. It's civilization, yeah. What is civilization? Oh, talking of which, have you seen they found a corridor into the pyramid and possibly a hidden chamber? Woo! What's going to be there? I have probably told you the story. Zahi Hawass has found this. Yes, well said, Low Forley. Is that his name now? Okay. I went to the British Museum when I was a journalist back in the day. They were going to have an unveiling of a new chamber in the pyramid, whereas there's like a shaft, and Zoe Howe was to put a little tiny robot up it, and it was gonna find something, and we were waiting. All sorts of people I met at this place. All sorts of people, and we had a massive feast, and we had olive chicken and all sorts of Egyptian dishes, and it was amazing. And we were in the British Museum next to the big stuff next to stuff, and there was a video link, but then the video link ended because it was the end of the night and they hadn't really taken into account time differences. But we were like, oh, and I won a book signed by Zoe Howard. Zoe, yeah. Anyway, and it was all going to be amazing. It's like, there's going to be a chamber. And so we all went home expecting that we found out in the morning that there was an amazing discovery. And there was not. Oh, I see. There was not an amazing discovery. It was just nothing. We thought, but maybe there was an amazing discovery, and they've taken till this long to explode the preconceived ideas about, and they did actually find something, and they didn't want anybody to know, because now they found a different corridor in a different part, and there's going to be a big 30 foot or 30 meters, this big chamber or something, a chamber of secrets, but not the bad one with the bad things. No, it's going to be amazing. Ooh, in the pyramids, what's going to be in the pyramids? What's going to be in the pyramids? Philip or the cat litter box? Oh, I don't think that's going to be in the pyramids. What else is going to be in the pyramids? Is there going to be a mummy? Is there going to be a daddy? Is there going to be a little baby in a grave? Yes, it's going to be a cat paradise, you're quite right. So, in the pyramids, there's going to be lots of things. There's going to be the secret to eternal life. In the pyramids, there's gonna be an alien with 6 heads and a hippopotamus goddess. Yes. In the pyramids, there's gonna be a sock made of rice. That's quite mummified by now. And there's gonna be canoptic jars. There's going to be cats. Yes, there's going to be cats in the pyramids as well, not just in Greece. Pyramids were very big in Egypt, weren't they? There's going to be loads of things. So this is what's happened this week. Pyramids, me going out more than once, and not much else. It's going to snow, maybe. Yes, a lost sock, a very bad recipe for crocodile hummus. Tasty, very, very tasty. It's very tasty. But yeah, because there is a sarcophagus stone cabinet thing in I think it's the King's Chamber, but there's nothing in it, and it's slightly chipped in the side, and they were always like, ooh, what's it? There's not really a burial chamber here, although the sarcophagus sort of suggests that there might have been at some point. But everyone's like, well, what is it if it's not a burial chamber? But it might be. It might still yet be that they find something. Exactly, Philip. Brilliant. Yeah, you're there tomorrow. Hello. Yeah, I've got work on Tuesday. I've got to go into the back room and do a video chat with somebody. But apart from that, I don't know what's happening this week. Snow. That's what's happening. But is it going to snow here? Is it going to snow here or not? Who even knows? Snow is the way it will go. Will it snow? When do we get snowed in? It's supposed to snow in Oxford, but is it going to snow in here? In this room? Probably not, unless there's a leak in the roof. And I hope there is not a leak in the roof. So that's... What else is going on in the week? There's been all sorts of stuff. Ooh, all the same stuff as always. They're still looking at things and changing things and being weird about things, and there's all sorts of WhatsApp conversations from the government. Ooh, controversial things. Dust away. Not dusty. It's dust only happens if you clean. Because if you clean, the dust goes up in a big sort of huff. If you don't clean, then the dust just stays there, settled. That's how it works. That's how cleaning works. If you try cleaning, then you'll just have to clean some more. And that's how it works. That is, trust me on this. So I will not have any judgment made about that issue at all. It's not my fault. I'm just looking at a big damp patch on the wall though. I'm thinking that next door is probably a little bit, yeah, it's true. It's true if you don't clean. When I first moved here, there was a very big amount of dust on the stairs. It had grown from a little bit to quite a lot. And I cleaned it all up. It was about that thick. And I cleaned it all up. But the thing is, when you disturb the dust, then you get the dust in the air and there's nowhere for it to go. Unless you've got some sort of HEPA filter, an industrial type. And so, yeah. Anyway, my stovetop is clean. That's fine. I wipe up after the food. Yes, oh, did you? How did you know that? When did you see the hob? When did you see the hob? I don't know when you saw the hob. Did Ollie take a picture of the hob? I don't know when that... Oh, I see. Through the magic of video and pictures. That's how you see things these days. I'm like, oh, you're psychic. Some sort of psychic. He was impressed by cleaning the hob. Okay, it was quite dirty. To be honest, it was encrusted. The trouble is with an old hob, every time you cook something, even if you don't use that particular hob, and there's one that's broken, so we just definitely won't use that. You're just boiling some water and you're like, because the way that it works is it just collapses in on itself. It's quite... Hob is the top of a stove. If the bit where you have the burners. Yes, it's really... It's just... I think it's because I did clean the sort of metal bits that go on top of the gas burners. But they're just sort of... I don't know, they're just rusty or something, because you just slightly touch them and they just sort of sprinkle a dusting of blackened soot or something all over them. Even if you clean them, you're like, it's just like, just too much. Cleaning is too much. I know my mother very famously doesn't like cleaning. She will clean, obviously. She's very good at cleaning. She's going to see this and go, I clean, how dare you. But she grew up in a house where she had to look after her younger brothers and sisters because she was the oldest girl child. And she had, she was one of 9. So in order to look after the other brothers and sisters and stuff, you end up being a girl child, doing all the housework for everyone else and cleaning up after them and looking after them. So I think when she moved to wifely position, she had decided that it really wasn't worth it. She does do housework, obviously, but she doesn't make it a religion because life is not worth it. Life is too short. If you spend all the time in the stove and the oven, then you get burnt. And it is not very nice. So she has made a decision to clean when it's necessary. And I applaud that. But, it does mean that you still do have to do the cleaning. So it's a sort of a joint family decision to do it. So now I've moved, I'm like, sure. Obviously I do washing up and I do basic cleaning. I make sure that there's no obvious germs and that things are hygienic as they should be. And then the rest of it is just superficial and it it's just not worth it really in the end, because no matter what you do, it'll all come back. No matter how much, it's entropy, isn't it? Just disintegrates. You're like, everything is ordered. Everything is not ordered. Everything is all over the place. I believe that the word entropy has got various different meanings depending on how you use it, because I was talking to a 7-year-old about entropy. He was an intellectual 7-year-old, and he disputed my definition of entropy based on how I was using it and based on how he was using it. Very different things, but there you go, you know. Cleaning up after the thaw. Yes, exactly. Wait until the cold snap has flooded your whole basement before cleaning it up. If you clean, and then if you tidy up, and then everything disintegrates, and you have to still clean up again. So wait till something happens and then clean up, really. Yes, exactly. Cleaning anything is anathema, really. Yes, exactly. Everything's going to get chaotic anyway, and it's going to be frustrating. Basically, I like order. Order is great, but order out of chaos is always going to be a very, very frustrating thing to have, because it will disintegrate. You'll be like, I've got everything sorted, everything in my life, everything in the world, it's all great, everything's I've got it all together, and whatever happens, the second you've got it all together, it will fall apart again, and you will get very annoyed and very frustrated if you start to worry about that. But if you just let it happen, then that's fine, because it's gonna happen. Like, if you plan it, it'll happen. If you don't plan it, it happens. If you worry about it, it happens. If you don't worry about it, it happens. Entropy, entropy, it's all right. Entropy, entropy, all through the night. Entropy is what's gonna happen to everything in the universe. In the beginning, there was probably a big bang, if you believe that stuff. If you believe that stuff, and if you don't, you'll say, oh, well, somebody created it, a big person in the sky. But whatever happened, it was chaos, and then it all got organized, and then it all got destroyed again, and it's all gonna go wild. It's gonna go pear-shaped. It's gonna go all over the place. It's gonna be egg in the face. It's gonna be pieces of pie on the floor, big custard pie in the face. It's all gonna be chaos. It's gonna be, I've got my life together, I've got everything planned, I know where things are going. It's gonna be a one-man band. It's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be amazing. I will do what I was meant to do, but in the end, it will all go wrong. It'll be chaos. Before long, it will be chaos. It will be wrong, and you'll go, no, like the song. It started off as if it was going to be a proper song, and then it went chaotic. Before too long, it will go chaotic, chaotic. Entropy is how it will always be. It will organize itself into a person, and then that person will disintegrate eventually. But all energy, all matter, it does not get destroyed, because it is all there, and it will all become something in the great big void, and everything will happen, and everything is possible, and everything is possible, and everything will matter, and everything is matter, and everything will matter, and then it will not matter, because it will go into ether and in smoke. Life will be like a television made out of snow. It will be lovely, it will be marvelous, and then it will be magical, and then it will be terrible. Everything that can happen will happen, and then it'll stop happening. So your life will be perfect for one precious second, and then it will go, and then it will go. So keep hold of it while you can, keep hold of it while you can, because eventually it everywhere, like snow, all over the universe. Because we all started off in one tiny fistule, really. Tiny little spot. All matter was all together. We're all very separated apart. It's all drifted. But eventually it'll all come back again, and then it'll drift. Chaos is your cat, exactly. Chaos is my cat. Hey, what do you think of that? Hey, chaos is everything. Chaos is order one cannot understand. Well, yes, quite right. Because there's a pattern. The whole universe has got a pattern. It's mathematical pattern. If you're very good at maths, you might understand that. I'm not very good at maths. Although, I was on the bus yesterday, going to one of my many 3 events that I went to yesterday, and there was somebody, I didn't see them, but I heard them, a small child talking to their father, I'm assuming their father, who was telling them about maths and telling them about square roots and about squares and testing them on it, and as he was explaining it, it all became clear. Not that I already knew. I did already know what square roots are and squares are, but I missed a week in school where I did the times tables, and so I've spent the whole rest of my life catching up. Although I sort of innately do know the times tables. I don't really, where you go through them by rote. Didn't do that for several of the times tables, and so I missed that and never really caught up. And so, as he was explaining it in the background, it all became clear, and it's like, what's the square of 11? What's the square of 12? And I'm like, oh, and then maths became clear in my head. Maths. I think I'm secretly good at maths. So I used to watch, there was Open University. There's a university institute in this country called the Open University, and I don't know whether they still have them, but they used to have television programs on the actual television, like on BBC Two late at night, that would tell you all about the thing that you were studying. I don't think they are on the television anymore. I think they must have had a licensing deal that fell through. I think they probably send them DVDs or online videos these days. But there used to be all sorts of things that you could learn from the Open University, and I used to watch like university level maths and go, well, that's obvious. Yes, quite. But then I'd go into school and do the sort of maths they were doing in school, and I'd be like, and I'd be bored out of my head, and it would just be, I'd just be like, no, not doing it, don't, too hard. And it wasn't too hard, it's just the way that my head was. It was like, you try force me boring things in my head. I'm like, no. Whereas I actually think that probably deep down I do have a maths brain, but I fought against it. I fought the maths, and the maths lost, really. Although I really like physics. This is why, because I did like physics, and I was good at the maths in physics. I was very, very good at the maths in physics. But somehow the same maths in maths was really not there. And so I decided that I could not do it, even though I probably could, because I could when it was needed. I can do maths if there's a reason for the maths, but if there is not, if it's just all abstract. But saying that, the maths that I'm best about is definitely algebra. I am good at that. I am good at all the very, 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 very obscure maths. But I cannot do things like 2 times 4. I go, yeah, so the more simple it is, that's where I fall down on it. It's just like, expect me to know something like that. Although, obviously, I can do money maths, which is the same. So, I don't know, it's weird. If it's simple maths, it has to have a practical reason for me to do it. If it's complicated, if it's really abstract and interesting, then I'll probably do it just for the sake of it. I'll just do it for fun, but not if it's simple, because... Yes, exactly. The abstract higher maths is the good stuff, but the stupid, simple, boring maths, it's like, why are you telling me that? Who cares about times table? Who cares? And I know you have to sort of have times table to do the more complicated stuff, but then you could get a calculator for that. Who cares? But it's really not important. There's other things at play. There's other things important. There's other things to say. But the more complicated and interesting something is, the more I will be interested. The more more simple and dull it is, the more I will go, nah, don't want to do that. But also, I am good at a lot of things very quickly, but not good enough to be an expert. I am good at things, and that's enough. A lot of the time I'm like, I can do it, why do I need to learn anymore? It's something that you need to grow up and be more mature about, because as you get older, you know, if you're bad at something, then you'll probably be better at something if you keep working at it. But if you're quite good at something, a little bit good at something, then you will never get any better, because you will be good enough. If you're good enough, then you'll never be good enough. But if you are terrible, that is it, terrible. If something's really, really worth doing, it's worth doing very badly, because you will get better at it if you keep doing it, because you will want to do it, you will be desperate to do it, you'll be loving to do it, you'll want to do it, and everything will be great. But if you're just alright at things, then you will never be more than alright. Alright. That's the trouble with that. And there's a lot of things that I'm all right at, and I couldn't be bothered to do any further. I'm not an expert at anything. This is what they say. A jack of all trades, a master of none. I'm like, but I mean, it's good to be an all-rounder and know lots of different things, because it's useful to know something. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing, as they say. And there's nothing worse than somebody that's just learning about something that you know about. See, there's loads of stuff I know loads about because I've studied it, or that I've been doing it for ages or whatever. But somebody that's just starting to learn about it will be absolutely convinced that they are now a massive expert on it, and talk to you about it and just tell you things, and you're just like, and you're like, you know these things, and you're just like, okay, and they're like, I'm so clever, and you're like, and you feel intimidated about sharing your own knowledge with them a lot of the time, because they're such big experts. After 2.5 seconds is the problem with that. So it's really best to just keep studying. Stay in school, kids, and do stuff, and just listen to people. But the thing is, a lot of primary school teachers are all rounders, and they have to know a little bit about a lot of things, but they don't tend to know a lot. Like they're told, like there was. Sometimes they have to teach French, for instance, without knowing a thing about French, for instance. Yes, you do try to avoid, exactly. If you, a lot of people think that they're very good at something when they're really not good at something. It's like, I'm so great. Yeah, you have to know what you're not good at in order to be better at things. Really, you have to realise you have to be wise to know the gaps in your knowledge. As a lot of philosophers have said, it's not an original thought. Really, it's just the truth. It's the truth. If you know what you don't need, if you know what you don't know, and that you don't know everything, then you can learn from that. But the thing is, a lot of people just go, well, I know this, I'm not going to listen to anyone else. And also are quite arrogant and think that nobody can tell them what to do. And and sometimes they're right. Sometimes you do know more than somebody else, but sometimes you don't know more than somebody else. So it's worth listening to somebody else. But sometimes other people talk absolute nonsense, and you just have to nod, because there's no point telling them, because they'll just get angry at you. And sometimes, when it's obvious that they're spouting nonsense and they're really being obnoxious about it, you have to say something, and then you come across as a terrible, bad person that's telling them that they're not expert. But, nobody knows anything, exactly. Are you, Ollie? Yes. I think you probably are. Yes. That's I don't know whether you are or not, but there you go. Because I know that I don't know everything. So there you go. All right. Well, I don't know whether I hope it snows or I hope it doesn't snow. I sort of hope it does snow in a way, because I like snow. But in another way, it's cold when it snows and you can't go anywhere and you fall over on the pavement and you can't do anything. No good. Ha. So, Let's see what happens. I haven't built a snowman for a long time. I don't think there's going to be enough to build a snowman, to be honest. I'm hoping we get frog spawn in our pond. It's filled up with water now. I don't know whether I've seen you since that, but I had a meeting there's a Phoenix Gardens. It's a little garden in the middle of London, and apparently it used to have frogs in the pond, but then they built Crossrails and loads of rats came out and ate all the frogs, so now they've got no frogs. So I said, apparently you can't sell frog spawn to people, and you're not really supposed to put frog spawn into a pond if there's already frogs in it, because it will maybe destroy the wildlife. But there's no frogs left there. So if we get some frog spawn, I said to the person who's running it, then maybe I can get some frog spawn from here and transport them into central London, and my frogs from my garden, it's not my garden, and it's not my frogs, the frogs in that garden might disperse and be all over London, and that will be the good in the world. The frogs will be everywhere. We will have a plague of frogs. That probably won't be a great thing. Maybe we'll see. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Have a really good week, and stay chaotic, because that's the way to go. See you. Bye bye. Example. No, I didn't say example. Bye bye.